Overcoming a 0-2 deficit. The Sixers have never done that before.
You are Locked On 76ers, your daily Philadelphia 76ers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for making Locked On 76ers your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Monopoly Go. I admit it, I have a competitive side, and it is a big fan of Monopoly Go, the mobile hit twist on classic Monopoly. So join your friends and download Monopoly Go, now free on the App Store or Google Play. Hello, my name is Keith Pompey, and this is my right hand, John Mitchell. We are the co-hosts of Locked On 76ers. We got a lot to talk about today. The 76ers started as an organization known as the Syracuse Nationals on 1946. Since that time, the 76ers in the playoffs are 0-20 when they trailed by 2-0. Will they be able to change that history? Also, DeAnthony Melton is back today. Melt has only played in like 7 games since December the 30th. We're going to talk about if he can have a little impact on this game and this series. And thirdly, we're going to give our keys to the game for tonight's Game 3. So, Mitch, 0-20, bruh. 0-20. Now, the last time they were down 0-2 was the Eastern Conference semifinals against the Miami Heat 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. They came back and tied that series 2-2 and eventually lost in 6 games. The time before that, they were swept by the Boston Celtics. That was when Brett Brown lost his job. Mm-hmm. Nick Nurse, to his credit, when they won the championship in 2019 with the Toronto Raptors and Kyle Lowry was point guard, they started off losing the first 2 games in the Eastern Conference finals and ended up winning the next 4 to win in 6. So it can be done, but only 7.3% of the teams have done that. So, hey, what's your thoughts, Mitch?
My thoughts, I do believe that the 76ers are going to win this game tonight. And, those numbers are daunting. But, sometimes we go into those numbers, Keith, man, we start, we start showing our historical side and our prescience when it comes to historical knowledge. And we go back to 1946.
That's when they started. Yeah.
I'm one of the type. I look at those numbers and I say, it's the first time for everything, man. History tells us that it's hard to do. It's hard to overcome an 0-2 deficit, but it's not impossible. I think that I feel the utmost confidence, and not to put the cart before the horse. I have the utmost confidence the Sixers are going to win this game tonight. And I think that they're going to play well. I think guys, they can. I think they can. Let me stop beating around the BS bush. They can come back and win this. They can come back and win this game, and I think they will win this game. It's not. Guys have got to show up. The statistics are against them, and they've got going back to the 1980s, which was, you have to go back that far to find the last time the Sixers played the Knicks. You got a 5-game playoff losing streak against them. But I just don't believe that this Knicks team is good. I think that the New York fans in the Madison Square Garden and Spike sitting on the front row with those horrifically ugly orange glasses, I think all that stuff, kind of plays into, this whole, go New York, go. But the bottom line is when Joel Embiid is on the floor, man, the 76ers have been, for the better part of the season, they've been in offensive and defensive efficiency. They've been right there with the Denvers, with the Oklahoma Cities. Man, they looked good last night. And and Boston. You know, they've been in that Elite Four, and I just don't think that the role players are going to continue to be AWOL for the 76ers. So I think that they can overcome this deficit.
You know, my only thing is, you know, on paper, I think so too, right? On paper, right? But then, you know, as I was getting into this game, I start like doing a little bit of research and start remembering things, right? So, you know, the Knicks have gotten the best of the Sixers. Like the Sixers have played the Knicks overall. They played them 6 times this season. They only won one. And that one victory that they had came um, in New York, you know, in March, right? I believe it was March the 10th. That's when they won the ugly game, right?
Like 5-4 was the final score. Yeah.
Yeah. It was actually like 79, 73, but yeah, it felt like 5-4. So the thing is, when New York prevailed 128-92 at the Wells Fargo Center on January 5th, right? The 37-point setback was the Sixers' worst loss of the season. Their worst, right? Their ninth worst loss was a 110-96 home decision to the Knicks on February the 22nd. So, I mean, they took some L's to them. And then they also got blown out, you know, on March the 12th by the Knicks, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you look at that, we say to ourselves, like, yeah, on paper, the Sixers are the better team. On paper, this and that, da da da. But what have we seen in front of us? And then all these games, it's been the same thing where Brunson has struggled. So
Yeah,
it's like, huh? It like
yeah, and he's about to get online.
Yeah, I mean, what the
come
thing
online.
is, yeah, the thing about it is not a matter of him getting on. It's just like the Sixers keep losing to this team, but we keep saying
they're the better team.
They're the better team, but they keep losing, and Brunson hasn't played well, particularly well in these games.
Yeah.
Right? You know what I mean? Now, the first one he did, but other than that, it wasn't. So then the first one we talk about, okay, when they got the worst loss of the season, which was at home, Joel Embiid played in that game. So we can't say, hey, they're this, they're that. You know, so my thing is now, again, Marcus Morris look old. Patrick Bev, his intimidation factors didn't work. They looked like Nico Batum was running around with a chicken without his head off, trying to cover people. So this team is a little different. But right about now, you can't tell me. We talked about Buddy yesterday. Will a real Buddy Hill stand up?
That's the
question. You know what I mean? So now you got Kelly Oubre. He has to worry about guarding Brunson to a point where it's taking away his offensive game. So all I'm saying is we keep saying on paper, but in reality, they've been getting smacked around by this team an hour and a half north of us, the New York Knicks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
yeah.
I don't like, what is it? Like, I mean, are we being arrogant?
No, I don't. I think, Keith, we're the better team. We're gonna beat
y'all the better team.
We're gonna beat this team.
Oh Lord.
I'm channeling Joel Hans and Embiid.
Oh, okay.
I do think even though the head to head indicates that they have not been better than New York Knicks. I just believe they're a better team, man. You know, and everything is contingent on where Joel is. Because I do recall before this series began, I picked the Knicks to win the series, and I guess I had to roll with that. But I mean, we'll see how he comes out physically tonight and moving forward. Does he stay healthy? That's the one thing that gives me, you know, with some certitude, I can say that I believe that the Sixers can beat this team. You know, I just, you know, they're tough, they're gritty, you know, that they're well coached. They play throwback basketball. They got the role model. They have the role players who step in for them. It's time for the 76ers to do the same. And I also think that the bad juju of this being the NFL draft day, and how bad it impacts New York teams. They've drafted the Zach Williams, the Zach Wilsons, and the Daniel Jones. This is traditionally a horrific day for New York City. And I believe it will probably transfer to the Wells Fargo Center.
Well, I mean, I guess there's a lot of people in the Wells Fargo Center going to be excited. Couldn't you imagine if this game was in New York and what the Knicks got the 6th pick, and then when the draft came, oh, like, oh.
I hope Marvin Harrison doesn't fall to either one of those. He's a homeboy. I hope he don't fall to either one of those bum squads. But listen,
where's he projected to go? They're saying the Giants want a quarterback, right?
You just gave a quarterback 140 mil, but we digress. So it's like that just goes to show you that they muck it up. But listen, passion, drive, and patience. The formula for winning championships is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every single time or your hard-earned money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. It's eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit's only available to U.S. customers.
Dang, man, I feel sorry for the people up north listening to this. They can't get it.
Yeah, how about that? But listen, are you watching Fox Sports or ESPN on your TV all day? Have to turn down the volume with all that shouting? Make the switch to Locked On Sports today, a free 24/7 sports streaming channel program for you every day to bring you the biggest stories without all the screaming. Locked On Sports today brings you can't-miss analysis, opinions, and news, streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. Do it today.
Definitely do it today. So here's the thing. So DeAnthony Melton is returning today. Now, you look at it, and the good part is if DeAnthony, it's two ways to look at it, Mitch, because I believe DeAnthony Melton tried to return like 3 times before, and it didn't work out for him, right? That back, man. And, and I asked him yesterday, I said, yo, Melt, like, why is it so important for you to return right now? And I said, this is a contract year. This is a lot of things. You can mess your back up, this stuff. He's like, yo, I feel like when we're a healthy team, we got a really good team. We got an elite team. And I want to be a part of it. Now, all that sounds good and it's great. But I know, like, the first time he came back, he played in 2 games, and then the third game messed up. Another one, it was like 3 or whatever. But then the last one, he played in 1 game. He played 15 minutes the first game. Then the second game, he only played 5 minutes, and he was done. That was against the Orlando Magic. And a lot of people ain't talking about, because that's the game that Joel buckled his knee, right? And that's up.
Yeah.
So my thing is, it's hard for me to quantify or to say what he's going to do and what he's going to mean to the team, because I don't know how long he's going to be out there for.
Right.
Like, in a perfect world, and not only that, you got to get back in game shape. The playoffs ain't the time to get in the game shape.
Yeah.
So he may be able to give you a couple possessions. In a perfect world, what he would do is he would free Kelly Oubre up to be more of an offensive player, right? But again, and this isn't a knock on D Melt, I think he's a good player, quality defender. But it's hard for me to say that he's going to be an impact or be a difference
Right.
when I don't know how long he can play or how many games he can play. And I don't even know, to be honest with you, if it's safe for him to play. Now, who knows? It may be, but at the same time, it's like all I'm going off is this is the fourth time that he tried to come back this season. And the first three didn't go well.
Yeah. Yeah. And like you said, it's the back is always questionable. I've had L5 S1 surgery on myself, so I know. I'm never came anywhere close to playing NBA level basketball, so I know at this level, it's tricky. But we what you said that's key would be crucial, so crucial. If he could come out there and play some defense, play some really good defense, which is his calling card, you know, on Brunson, and free Kelly up to to start assassinating. Now would be a great time for that. But like you said, we I'm not even going to try to pretend to play a doctor on Locked On Sixers, man. Or I don't think that where his back is, but what we do know is every time he has tried to come back, he's thrown it out. It's gone back, and it's been a setback. Um, Shout out to him for being a competitor and wanting to play, because if he can come back and play those passing lanes and cut off those Brunson's driving. I mean, Brunson has been struggling, and he's obviously having trouble against Kelly Oubre's length and the length of 76ers have put on him with other players. Does that end tonight? Does he come back, to quote unquote home with the rest of the Villanova guys and get on track? We'll see. But it's Melton it could be crucial. We could be here tomorrow singing his praises. We don't know. He's competing again. I mean, it's like one of the worst injuries to have in basketball. This back injury, in any sport. But it would be nice to see him come back and take some of that so Kelly Oubre can do what he's really good at, which is creating, with some other guys not creating offense right now.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I mean, and it will be great. It will be great. It's just that, I mean, all hands on deck. I get that. But it was funny because at one particular point, this could tell you like how the Sixers mindset is, because at one particular point they were like, it's unlikely that he'll probably play in this series just because you got to get a couple games under your belt, this and that, the whole nine. To now, it's game, we down 0-2 and brother man is playing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so that just tells you, what it is and the state of where the 76ers are. But, it's great. Before he was injured, he was number 2 in the league in steals.
Yep.
He was number 1 in deflections, one of the top in deflections per 36 minutes. Like he was balling, man. He really was. He was the guy. And he was averaging a career high and points and all this. He was shooting the ball well. I mean, initially when he first started, he struggled. He finally grew the first couple games. But since then, he's been playing well, and he's been missed. I mean, he really has been missed. And like if you look at it, it's no coincidence that I call them open 3U on defense. Like dudes just be spotting up and just raining threes on them left and right. And a lot of that has to do with him not being in the lineup at all. It was a while. I'll say this about him. There was a while when they got rid of Matisse Thybulle. I was like, man, y'all crazy.
Yeah.
Y'all messed
up. Y'all did that. Yeah.
Yeah. But this particular year, the way Melt was playing, Melt was on pace to be an all defensive performer. He was balling, and it would have been great to have him and my man Matisse Thybulle. But at the same time, he did have a heck of a year, a heck of a start, to where you can say they don't miss Matisse like they originally would have.
Yeah, and hey, man, I know who's. What about the kid who they traded to Boston this year? Who's defender.
Yeah, that year. I know.
I know he's young and everything, and this is uncharted territory for him. But it might just, this might have been an opportunity for him to really create a name for himself, because they do need to, if they can keep Brunson off track, they need to do everything. They need to do everything. And shout out to D'Anthony Melton for coming back and saying, hey, man, because we do know there's 80% of that league would be like, okay, it's springtime. You know what I mean? So, but listen, this next segment is brought to us by our sponsor, BetterHelp. Sometimes we all need the opportunity to get something off our chest. Big or small, certain things can really start to get to you. It's important to let that out, especially to someone who's unbiased on your life. So today, I want to say how I really feel about something. You might even think about the same thing this week. I'm a little bit down, little somewhat. I want to see the Sixers, even this thing up. But let's be quite honest. We all have bigger things in our lives that are more important than, $1 million athletes and their plight on the court. We've got real life we have to deal with. We have real life issues that are very important to us that impact our lives. Have you ever considered therapy? Therapy can be different for everyone. Most of us have, like I said, we have bigger problems in our favorite sports teams and they're struggling. So if you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online and it's designed to be flexible and suited to your schedule. So visit betterhelp.com/lockedonnba to get your first month free. 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/lockedonnba. Want to make your mom smile? Start Mother's Day with flowers or surprise her with gifts from the brand she loves, delivered the very same day with DoorDash. Moms are a gift, so give her the best this Mother's Day. Get gifts as thoughtful as she is with DoorDash. Select from hundreds of expertly crafted bouquets to the best of tech to self-care essentials and more, delivered right to her door. So it's never too late to show mom your love. Get her something from DoorDash. Get your Mother's Day gifts from DoorDash, and it's all in one place. Get 50% off your next order, up to $15 when you spend $15 or more on your next flour, convenience, grocery, or retail order now with code LOCKEDONNBA. That's Locked On NBA. Order using DoorDash today. Terms apply.
Definitely do it today, people.
Don't forget your mom.
Yeah, don't forget Mom Dukes.
She's your favorite girl.
I know, right? I always love them. That is the jam, though, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. But look, here's the thing, man. Like, so we talked about all that stuff. What do you think are the keys to victory for the Sixers in Game 3?
I think it's pretty simple, Keith. I think the guys who have been AWOL, Tobias Harris, Buddy Hield, Kelly Oubre, they just got to be more effective. They've got to be more aggressive offensively. And I put Kyle Lowry in that as well. I'm not leaning on him to score. But I'm leaning on him being the playoff tested veteran that he is. And I'm the role players usually play better when they're at home. The 76ers have very good role players. They just haven't played like it during this series. So and it's not rocket science. I'm not introducing anything and recreating the wheel with that. I think it's pretty well understood that while you do have two of the three best players in this series. One of them is dragging his leg behind him. I think Maxi's going to blow New York up tonight. I really do, but I think that the role players have to be better. And of course they got to rebound.
Yeah, that's a must. They have to rebound. They have to do something. I mean, we'll see, but I do think that Tobias Harris has to have a better game.
Has
You know,
to.
here's the problem. So you got Maxey averaging 34 points. You got Joel Embiid averaging 31, 5, and 9, and
Mm-hmm.
they're 0-2 in the series. And unfortunately, what it looks like to me is when you look at Joel's production, Joel has been heavy on the first
Early. Mm-hmm.
early, and then towards the end, he has no lift. He can't do this. He can't do
Yeah.
that. The great thing for the Sixers are that they do have 2 games in between. They had 2 games in between game 2 and game 3, and the same thing for 3 and 4,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that will give them an extra day of rest. However, when you look at it, you can't ask these 2 guys, your 2 all-stars, to play any better when we in regards to like what their 30 points and whatnot.
Statistically. Yeah.
Statistically. But there's nobody else stepping up. You know what I mean? Tobias struggling. I mean, Kelly Oubre has yet to not Kelly Oubre. Buddy Hield is 0 for 3 on threes. He's averaging 1 point. 1 point. And
Yeah.
he came here, they said, to put the fear of God in people.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he looks like he's fearful to shoot the ball.
Yeah. He's
So,
playing like a kitten.
yeah.
He's on kitten.
Yeah. So they got to get that right, man. They got to get it right. And then also, you look at it, Tobias is not, they keep saying he's playing good defense, but he got to get going. Now, here's the thing about Tobias. Like, you can argue that he's not getting enough shots.
Get your shots.
But the thing is, he got to do something with the ball. Like,
right.
Like I've been seeing air balls. I've been seeing bad shots. I've been seeing hitting the side of the backboard. He got to do, when he gets the opportunity, do it. Maybe slow down, do whatever, but you got to play better than what you're playing. So, you know what I mean? It is what it is now. I mean, it is what it is. Like, you can't keep complaining. Not saying he is, but you can't keep complaining about not getting the ball. But when you do get the ball, nothing happens.
And you know what I see, what I have seen from him, and I detest it. It's contemptible, and I hate to see it out of him because it wasn't happening early in the season, even when Joel was on the floor. He's been going and standing in that corner a lot, Keith.
Yeah, too much.
Yeah, it's too much. Get out of that damn corner.
You got to be able to crash the board. Like, I mean, even if the coach wants you to go in there, you got to come and get those offensive rebounds like the other team does. Like, soon as you see that ball go up, like you at the pin relays this weekend. Like you at the pin relays and you going in and like
you're the Boston Marathon.
Yeah, do something, man. So that has to happen.
Hit some runners, man. I mean, that runner, he's been hit that runner. Try that. Try something. But they're standing out there in that, and shout out to him for getting like 9 boards a game from standing over in that corner. But and I want to see Paul Reed more tonight, man.
Yeah, I know. I think they're overthinking stuff sometimes. Like, he got his contract is dependent on it.
I know, and I want him around. Want the guy around.
Yeah, it's
one of the few players that they develop. Actually, you can actually see his development.
Maxey, the only one that they kept that they developed. To be honest with you, I mean, so that means Paul might be out.
Yeah. That's a good point. I mean, when Maxey, listen, the Sixers, and it happens. Nobody expected him to be where he is right now. Being picked in the 20s. Nobody expected him to be where he is now, but he is. So I mean, we think that this is skill and intelligence and intellect. Sometimes picking the right player is luck. And for all those teams to miss on him, when you go back to that draft.
Yeah, you got to give Elton Brand a lot of credit because the Sixers considering doing different things with that pick, trading it, and Elton, cool with Rich Paul. Yeah, they like, he made it work, made it happen. So that worked. But look, I want to talk about Locked On. Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube, and now it's also available on Amazon Fire TV and the free Fire TV channel app. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On Plus, our national shows covering every league. Find Locked On Sports Today now available on the free Fire TV channel app, right? And we want to let y'all know that, or thank y'all for making Locked On 76ers your first listen, not just today, but every day. Remember, we are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I would like to say thanks for listening. Enjoy the game. We'll see what happens. And don't like maybe you're probably going to look at the draft and the game simultaneously. Be careful. I hope you don't miss anything. But
It's going to be a blowout, Keith.
you think so?
Yeah, it's going to be a blowout.
Okay. All right. Well, Mitch says it's going to be a blowout. But who's getting blown out? That's the question.
Go New York, go. They're getting blown out.
Okay. Well, we'll see.
No New York, no New York, no.
No New York, no New York, no crazy. All right, but look, for me and Mitch, peace. Have a great one, y'all.
Peace, y'all.